You touched it for a moment, that stillness, presence, peace. It felt like everything had vanished. Pure freedom remained. And then something happened. It vanished. Now you're back in the mind with racing thoughts, negative emotions keep looping, and you're left wondering where it went or even what that was. Have you ever had that glimpse of awareness or satori that left an immovable mark on your consciousness, knowing that you could never return to who you were before you experienced that pure insight and glimpse of present awareness? Well, in this video, what I want to talk about is how to recognize a real glimpse of awareness and then why it disappears and what is that inner resistance that keeps pulling you back into the illusion. Hi, my name's Todd. Welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, I like to talk about consciousness, non-duality, and hidden mechanics of reality. So feel free to subscribe if you want to stay up to date for more videos that I'll be releasing. And what I experienced along my journey was that glimpse, that clearing of all illusion, was a pure seeing into the core of my being. And what was surprising to me, and what maybe you've found as well, is that the pure obviousness and ordinariness of the experience, of the glimpse. There were no fireworks, there was no sudden huge epiphany or lights flashing for me. It was just a very, very unmistakable, clear seeing into the presence of the self when all illusions vanished, when all ideas suddenly cleared that I was the separate self and all that remained was the stillness of awareness. And it just seems so obvious in that moment, doesn't it? It's like, wow, this is really who I am. How could I have ever believed I was the separate self? How could I have ever bought in to the illusion of the story and all of the momentum and turbulence that appears? And you think that you've found it. You're here. You've finally arrived. Nothing's ever going to touch you again. And here's the hard part that I found. Is when it started vanishing, that clear seeing without any control that I could have, no matter how much I seemed to resist it, I started getting drawn back into the illusion, drawn back into the idea of being the separate self. All the thoughts started looping again, all of the emotions started kicking up again, and I wondered where that clarity had gone. And when that happens, it does seem like that the ego is reasserting itself. It's reasserting itself because it still has so much energetic momentum from a lifetime of believing in being the separate self, from a lifetime of fueling the ego identity, that even with that clear glimpse or seeing that you've had, it's still not enough to fully eradicate and dissipate the idea of being the separate self completely. And it can be so frustrating because now you've had that moment of clarity, that moment of insight, peace, and awareness. That mark has been left firmly on your consciousness, and now it's vanished. And you're wondering, how do I get back there? How do I get back to where I was? Even if it was just those few minutes or even few seconds of clear seeing. And that's why it can be so frustrating. And so the ego's defenses are very cleverly designed in the sense that it is a self-preservation mechanism, because the ego believes having a glimpse and firmly resting in clear awareness is a very threat to the idea of being the separate self. And so through the lens of self-preservation, it can actually start to throw up even more erratic thoughts or even more negative emotions than you had experienced prior to the glimpse. And all of these beliefs and ideas and energy packets sitting in your subconscious mind and sitting around your energy field act as resistance to being present awareness and the truth of who you really are. Because, as I said, the truth of who you really are is the annihilation of being the very person or the character that appears within the illusion. And so self-preservation mechanisms are built within the illusion to try and draw you back in. And if you've watched any of my most recent videos, my last 2 or 3 videos, what you'll know is that I talk quite a lot about resistance, because resistance is the fundamental mechanism that's preventing you from just resting in the I am presence and awareness. And that's why I created the resistance map. So if you watch this far, I want to give you a completely free gift. It's my gift to you just for being here, and it is a step-by-step guide that's going to help you create your own resistance map, and it's going to help you start becoming conscious and aware of all of those little packets of resistance that are held within your subconscious mind. And what I found is that once I was able to start slowing down the energetic momentum and dissipating or transmuting the energetic momentum of the belief in separation, I could stay in present awareness for longer and longer periods of time, until such time where the illusion didn't have such a strong pull on my awareness that I wasn't always having to be drawn back into the story, and I could sit behind the story as the observer. And what I've done is I've included a bonus section towards the end of this guide, and it is the golden thread technique. And the golden thread technique is a powerful technique that you can use to start uncovering all of those core elements of resistance that are within your subconscious, that are acting as like the ego's defenses to help give it strength and help continue to perpetuate the belief of being the separate self. So I've included that guide 100% free in the link, the first link of the description box below. So feel free to click that and download it now, because that's going to help you to start slowing the momentum of what's pulling you back into the illusion. So what I want to finish off with for this video is to just explain that even though glimpses seem to come and go, awareness, i.e. who you truly are, does not. It sits there behind all things, behind all appearances. The only thing that does change and does oscillate is focused attention and identification. Where is your focus? What are you identifying as? Where is your present awareness? And if it's not firmly in the center of your being, what is it that keeps pulling your awareness out of the I am presence? What is it that keeps throwing you off center? So let me know in the comments below, what is it that you feel like keeps throwing you off center, so you keep buying into the idea of being the separate self? And I would also love to know what your experience is like of going through the resistance mapping guide. So click that link below, download it, start going through it and practicing with it, and let me know how you go. Thanks for watching.